Before we get started, I just wanted to give a little insight on what's coming up. This episode starts our In Your Skin series, where I interview people of each Enneagram type who have truly done some deep work with themselves. This is my first time interviewing someone on the show, so I'm learning quite a bit on this journey. What happens when you mix two sevens on a podcast? A lot of laughter, some randomness, and more seriousness than you'd probably expect. Here we go. Welcome to Do It For The Gram, an Enneagram podcast with your host, certified Enneagram coach, Milton Stewart. And today we're starting a super exciting episode. Here at Do It For The Gram, we do it for the Enneagram, not Instagram. We're doing it to better our communities and the people around us. And today, with our new interview series, I have someone really special here, the person who introduced the Enneagram to me, B.Chris Simpson. He is the minister at Holmes Road Church of Christ, and he is a Enneagram 7. Intro music, let's go.
Oh, that sounds like a podcast.
Right? Right? See what I'm saying?
Oh
so that's what they're going to hear. See what I'm saying?
That sounds amazing.
Right? Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
That is amazing.
Change everything. We have quality
That
mics.
is amazing.
B.Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Wow, I'm so hyped right now.
So, as you know, I'm a 7. B.Chris is a 7. So, it's about to be a lot of energy going on right now.
Bro.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
So, all right, we're going to go ahead and cut to the chase because the stories can go long. This will probably be a part 2 type
I'm
of
sorry
episode.
about that. That's my fault.
And that's okay. That's okay. It is good. It's going to be some good
Less
things
is
going
more.
on. So, my teacher, Ginger Lipta Bogda, who's taught me to be certified in Enneagram, and she's a beast, has been studying over 40 years. She says that we don't find the Enneagram, it finds us. So, how did the Enneagram find you?
Bro, my wifey, she and her mother, they were studying through this book, and it had taken them by storm, and they were talking about it nonstop. And so then I visited my mother-in-law with my wife, and she was like, you need to do the Enneagram. We've been talking about this Enneagram. This was many years ago, probably. I say many. It seems like a lifetime ago because it's like my life pre-Enneagram and then my life post-Enneagram.
So different.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it was maybe like 7 years ago. And she tested me, and they said I was a 7, and I was like, "Oh yeah, bet. You know, I'm definitely that. I am gregarious and boisterous and full of energy." But then they started talking about other stuff like, "Oh, how I avoid pain," and I'm like, "Bro, you don't know me at all, bro. I face pain. Like you don't know me at all." They was like, "Oh yeah, you avoid pain. Yes, you avoid pain," and both of them was like, "Oh yes, absolutely. You're a huge avoider." And I was super offended. I was like, "Bro, don't come at me telling me that I avoid pain because you know how I am." I'm like, "Oh, bro, I'm from the hood." You know what I'm saying? I was bullied growing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I done been through it. Don't tell me. You know what I'm saying? And they kept breaking it down. And as they kept breaking it, bro, you talking about the Enneagram finding me. Bro, that mud found me, backed me up into a corner. That's what it did.
Defensive?
Right. For real.
I don't know
That's what happened. Right. That was me.
And so that's kind of like when you, so this is how the story goes when B.Chris introduced it. So we were having a young adult night at his house, and after like the whole Devo, he brought out the big blue book, and he was like, "Let's do the Enneagram."
Rizzo, that's right. The wisdom of the Enneagram.
And so, which I have on the table here, of course.
Right.
And he said, let's take this, kind of like personality. So we took this, 2-question test, and he would read out the first and like second paragraph. And the first paragraph is always super exciting. It's like, oh yeah, this is me. This sounds real good. Then that second paragraph hits you, and it's like hitting you in the stomach. And it's like, you're extra uncomfortable, but you're trying to look comfortable because now we're in the midst of other people. Yeah. And so that's exactly what it is. And then to your point about, like the fear part of avoiding pain, it's so true. It's like, at first it's like, I don't avoid pain. I ain't scared.
I deal with it.
I ain't scared.
I'm open to pain. Like, look at me. I'm open to pain. Yeah.
I ain't scared. I've been through a lot,
Yeah.
But then it was like, you've been avoiding your whole life. Like, oh,
right.
Okay. So that was definitely how it found you, and then it helped to find us. Wow. So you mentioned your wife helping you to discover the Enneagram.
Yeah.
How has the Enneagram impacted your life and marriage?
It has, in countless ways. In my life, it's given me insight into why I do the things that I do. The thing that brought me to the Enneagram and that made me sort of prefer it to other very accurate and helpful assessments and tests like the DISC profile or the Myers-Briggs is because it focuses not only on how I am dealing with and interacting with the world around me, but I describe it tells me who I am when I'm in a room by myself. It tells me stuff like from my childhood. It tells me things about how I'm internalizing these messages. So even if ain't nobody else there, I am. And so it's telling me who I am. And then on top of that, it tells me how I'm interacting with people. And so it helped in my life because the first thing it's going to tell me is, well, this is why you didn't go out for sports when you were younger. This is why. All that fear and those internalized messages and that potential failure that we not going to do, that I do things I'm good at. If it ain't that, it's going to cause some type of pain, some type of discomfort. And I don't do discomfort. Right. Okay. It's going to tell me that when I'm just in a room by myself with my thoughts. Then to answer your second question, it's going to tell me how I interact with others and why. And so, my wife is a 9.
Yes.
Ooh. The crown of the Enneagram. And then also different in how she sees things. And so I'm thinking, actually, some of what she is doing, I'm learning this throughout the years. Some of what she's doing is negativity. A lot of what she's doing is just not positivity. And I internalize, if it's not positivity, it's negativity. Whereas some of the things she's doing or some of the things she's saying may be negative, but a lot of things she's doing is not actually negative. It's just not positive. She's just stating things. She's just being herself. She's just in reality. And so it's like, I didn't know that she was in reality and I wasn't. That I'm just making everything positive. I'm making everything with juice. I'm making everything with, confetti. And it's like balloons everywhere, no matter what's happening. And so then that was the first fruits of the Enneagram that it yielded straight away.
So I think you hit on some really, really strong things for especially 7s who are listening and people in relationship with 7s is that we have this tendency, this natural instinct to want to make everything positive and to rationalize everything to be positive. And it happens so quickly that many times we don't realize it. That's the crazy part. We're like, no, it was good. And it's like, no, that was not good. Nothing about it was fine. It was not okay. But in our mind, somehow we've already went to a point where it's like, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's good. So we're going to come back to that because I have a series of like coaching questions I want to talk about how psychological defense is going on there. Okay. Which is going to be really good. Just to show the audience the way that it protected us and the way that it hurts us at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, which is a little bit about, so you are one of the co-ministers at Holmes Church of Christ, which the church has been doing really, really good, thank God. And he's been using you and Cameron.
Good. Yes.
He's been using you and our other minister really, really well to help bring people in and like just where it's a place they feel community and loved.
Yes.
So can you speak on how your 7-ness as Enneagram 7 has helped you grow into not only growing the church, but helping people? Does your workplace stink because the culture sucks? Are you tired of tolerating people and wish you could all work together cohesively? Does the mere idea of going into work give you anxiety? If you said yes to any one of these, you should probably quit your job. But since you're not going to quit your job, you should contact Kaizen Careers. At Kaizen Careers, we are all about improving workplace performance. We use a unique tool called the Enneagram. The Enneagram helps individuals and organizations become more self-aware. That self-awareness lends into helping organizations with communication, conflict management, and leadership development, ultimately turning self-awareness into self-mastery and creating healthy workplace cultures so you can improve your services and bottom lines. Contact Kaizen Careers at KAIZENCAREERS.com or Milton at KaizenCareers.com, or give us a call at 901-334-1644.
I think I have this energy, and I think it's a positive energy. It's a vibe. It's an electricity. You know what happens when the juice on your phone runs out? Mm-hmm. You can't do things. It's like, oh no, my phone is dead. Like when our phone die, it's like a person dead. You know what I'm saying? It's like mourn, a service, arrangements, and a repast, bro. Until we can get to that charger again, get in, yes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like until we can get to electricity, yes, and we can charge the thing. Right. If we can charge the thing, now we're back. Now we can keep working. Or when a light goes out and then here comes darkness because there's no light, we need a new bulb that can pick up that electricity. Mm-hmm. I found that in my life, my gift that doesn't have anything to do with me, I believe it has to do with God, mm-hmm, and what he gifted me with is electricity. And so I have learned that things that are small, things that are in need, things that are growing dim, a huge part of my ministry is ministering to people at dim places in their life, right, where the light's getting dim, where the bars on that icon are becoming fewer and fewer and fewer. They're powering down. Mm. And so then it's been my privilege to step into a room, into a relationship, into a church, an organization, and to power the thing back up. And it is a great honor, privilege. It's just like, man, like in my toes and my fingers and in my hair, like I'm bald, but I can still feel where the electricity would like still make my head tingle. It's like this huge honor to be able to power up somebody. And it was like, wow. So before you started doing your work here, B.Chris, there was, darkness, slow movement, but now we're powered up again. Right. And so I've been able to do that in the church. I've been able to do that in some of the not-for-profit organizations that I work with. Mm-hmm. I've been able to do that in my family and different relationships that I've had. And I think it's been a God thing, and I'm just so thankful to be a part of it.
Yes. And so I think what's so important in my life is, so I've known B.Chris for how many years now?
Bro, I don't even know.
Wow, it's been some years.
Wow.
It's been some years, but
since college.
Yeah, since college. Yeah. My freshman year. Mm-hmm. And it has been so impactful and moving to me to see someone who is the same number as me, even though I didn't know then the same number as me, who continuously is doing work with themselves, personal growth, and to see the path that they're on. And when we found the Enneagram, and I was like, I'm a 7, he a 7, I was like, oh my goodness. And to see the places that you were and that you are, and the places you keep going and growing and growing and growing and developing has like helped me immensely to keep growing. Because there's places where I was like, I don't know why he acting like that's a 7. What is in his emotions? 7s don't get there, type of deal. But now my emotions are readily more present now. I mean, I still struggle with, wanting to avoid them. That's going to be a thing. Yeah. But seeing you be able to get there and not see emotions as weakness, but as strength, has been amazing. And then just to see all of the different ways that just mentally, spiritually, that you have been able to, I guess, evolve to has been leaps and bounds helpful to me, right? It has helped me so much. And so, speaking on that, right? Because we on the 7th, and I want to honor you with that one. Because right now, I know you're doing a class on honor and shame.
That's right. I'm doing a class on honor and shame society versus guilt innocent society.
Yes. So I definitely want to honor you on this podcast because you've been such a blessing to me and helped me grow so much. It's ridiculous.
Hard to believe, bro.
Yes, but it's so true. But one thing I wanted to talk about too is so what are some of the struggles of being a 7 and being a minister of a church and working with so many people with so many different details? As a 7, we don't always master the details naturally. So what has been some of the struggles being in the ministry and your 7-ness? What's been some of the struggles?
I'm electricity. Yeah. Whenever you're in a house and that meter man comes by adjusting things and you just look out the window and you see somebody moving in orange and putting stuff on the ground and it's like climbing up on poles to try to make sure that you have what you need and that this thing doesn't blow up. So my greatest problems have been I'm electricity. Untamed electricity sometimes, which causes fire, which burns people, which shocks people, which makes sparks fly. And unfortunately, there have been times when I'm only electricity, thinking that to make a building run smoothly, to make a building, an edifice, like function properly, as if electricity is the only thing it needs. But if this is to be a church building where we're in here every day, working, ministering to our community, worshiping, electricity is important, but so is water. Yep. We got to wash our hands, bro. So is air conditioning. We can't sweat to death in this well-lit room. So is heat. You know what I'm saying? Gas. All these other things that make a building right. You know what I'm saying? Furnishings, all these other things. And it's been my inflexibility, which is strange. Because as a 7, I pride myself on flexibility.
Right.
I pride myself on that. But it's my, it's that not wanting to feel things that I don't want to feel that makes me inflexible. I didn't know that. The people who are okay with feeling a myriad of different emotions, a myriad of different things, facing a myriad of different potential situations, that's what makes people flexible. That I actually don't know what's out there. I don't know what's coming, but I feel confident that I can face that and get through it just fine. That is not how I lived my life. Shock. I live my life knowing, no, I will always be okay if I just bend every situation to me, bend reality to my own positive addiction, opposed to me bending to it. And so my lack of flexibility in surprising ways is what made me only electricity. I'm only just walking around here shocking people, even if they ain't on dead, even if they got plenty bars, even if they have plenty of energy, or even if they're trying to let the bars run out. Everybody don't need energy. Some people need rest. Not just some people, but me. So what does it look like when I'm trying to charge somebody who's already charged? What does it look like when I'm trying to give something to someone to bring them up when they, at this phase, this season of their life, they're better powering down? It's spiritual to power down. It's right to power down. God rested on the seventh day. It's right to do that. But here I am powering up. My co-minister and I, we have been blessed to work with each other. He is an Enneagram 9, which is so interesting because I have an Enneagram 9 as a wife, an Enneagram 9 as a co-minister. And he has just been amazing to my leadership. The elders at our church said, this is a team approach. And B.Chris, we're wanting you to take the lead on some of these things to make sure that the team runs properly. I would be nothing without the team, though. My co-minister, we, in 2018, we were doing some evaluation stuff. He said, after I leveled my evaluation, because, I can be pretty critical, especially if I'm stressed out and I'm trying to get something done.
Because you share that line with the one.
They go to one in me. Woo. Yeah, it's like, hold up, is it hot in here? Am I a little stressed? Which could be for anything. It's like, am I hungry? Okay, I'm critical. I'm stressed out, I'm struggling, I'm hungry, I need a burger. So now I'm finna be critical. I'm finna turn to a one, the negative traits of a one. Yeah. And so my co-minister, she says, essentially, you're doing too much. And you're expecting us as your team to do too much too. What he told me essentially was, your 7 is in the way you run your life, which ain't even good for you. Working with all these organizations, out with all these different people, meetings, preaching, and traveling preaching, and throughout the city, just all these boom, 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 this busy schedule. You come here and then you want us to do the same thing. You're doing the ministry like that. And he's like, but we're a church. We're not you. And you're not you. He says, a lot of things you shouldn't be doing. Bro.
That's hard.
That's hard.
That's hard because for the 7, we are good at a lot of different things. Not necessarily always great at them, but
no. But we pretty good,
though, right?
Yeah, we pretty good though.
And so that's the issue because a lot of people ask us to do stuff.
Right.
And for the 7, it is really hard sometimes to say no, because I can do that. I can be good at that. I can, that feels something in us like, oh yeah, if I can do that, that makes me feel kind of good. And so I remember I was still in college. I think I was a senior, and you came through. I think you were speaking or preaching or something, and you came to my apartment, and I had asked you a question about something that I was asked to do, and I was like, should I do this? I don't know, maybe I should do this. And I remember you saying, it's like, no, you should not, because something that you were talking about at the time, I think this was, I don't know if this was post Enneagram or pre.
Bro, it was post.
It was post. Okay, yes, it was post Enneagram. I
remember this time.
And you said something to the effect that I need to be able to trust that God's going to feel it with somebody who can do it and be capable to do it. And I was like, because you were like, that's a lack in faith if you feel like God can fill that position and somebody else can do it well.
That's right.
I was like, that. And at first I was like, I really didn't agree with it. I was like, I just don't. I don't know if because right. I don't know if anybody can do it just like I can do it, Right. And it's like that was a lack in faith. Yeah. That seriously was. And so I just remembered that moment being so serious because for 7s, it's a lot of people ask you to do stuff, and it's going to be really hard to say no sometimes. But you really have to internally know, what am I actually trying to do? What am I being led to do? And so you'll actually have a good sense of what I should be doing and what I should not be doing. What I can say no to. Because it's tough, because those things bring excitement.
If you've made it this far and have not already taken the Enneagram test, here are a few that I trust. You can always go to kaizencareers.com/Enneagram and scroll to the bottom for the quick 2-question test based off of the Russ and Rizzo's quick test. The second one I trust is Eclectic Energies. It's another free test that has about 30 or so questions and can be pretty accurate depending how self-aware you are. The next one I trust is the Enneagram Institute. For a more thorough test that will give you possibly your top 3 types, you can go to enneagraminstitute.com. And the tester has a minimum cost, but it's pretty accurate. Last but not least, I trust the Integrative 9 test. This can be found at integrative9.com. This test is one of the most expensive tests, but I believe it to be the most accurate and gives a ton of information based on your type. It includes personal life, but really shines on how your type performs professionally.
7s are the electricity. They are usually the entertainer, the person who makes fun, the party person, the person that gets it going, right? Yeah. The issue is a lot of times 7s and other people get stuck in thinking that that's only that person. And so what experiences do you have where people are so used to you being the entertainer that have impacted your life?
Yeah. So I have a good number of college friends. And this is one of the earliest examples in my pre-Enneagram life that the Enneagram gave me so much insight into. And this has been a reoccurring theme. I started to struggle in my spiritual walk. Had gone through some really high ups and low downs toward my last year of university. And I needed something specific, I thought, in my friends. I needed something specific. And I was like, they are not meeting these expectations. And it reawakened these thoughts I had, which were essentially, that's why I can't trust y'all and I got to do this by myself. Because every time I need some, y'all ain't doing it right. Y'all ain't coming through in the clutch. You just out here chilling. Huge conflicts. And they would tell me, we don't know this you. It's as if we are talking to a stranger. You're crying. You're struggling. You're not doing things well. And so it was difficult because they were saying, you've been the funny guy. You've been the one who's always sort of entertaining, class clowning. You're always that guy. So you're always okay. You're always positive. We don't know this sullen person. We don't know this person who has needs. We don't know this person who is breaching negativity for the first time around us. And so it's been that thing that has been a huge hardship in my friendships and even in my marriage. It first became a problem then toward the end of college. They were shocked. We don't know this you. So it's hard to minister and love this you because he's not someone we know. Later on, the exact same thing happened in my marriage. My wife, who begged me to be more vulnerable, who begged me to be more open. When I became open and vulnerable, she just did not know what to do with that. And I thought it was because she was insensitive, when really she was just shocked and she had not met this person before. In the truth, I had not met him.
Ooh.
And so in my life, it didn't occur to me that in convincing myself, out of all the bad things that have happened to me, all the struggles that I've had, the traumas in my life, big T traumas and little T traumas, that after all those things, I would convince myself first that it was positive. Then I would work to convince others it was positive so that I could cope with that trauma, with those bad things. It had not occurred to me that I would be so convincing. It had not occurred to me that I would do such a good job convincing them that everything was positive and everything was okay, that they would believe it wholesale. And then I would create a brand new problem, which essentially would be in my vulnerability, which was at the worst point because I was in so much need at the time. So now I'm in need because things are dark. But now at this moment, I have to turn around and convince them the other way. I have to undo the convincing I did before that everything was positive and I was this type of person. I have to now convince them the opposite way, which can only be done with a whole bunch of fighting, arguing, crying, hurt feelings, distance. Bro.
Oh, you speaking to my soul right now.
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
That soul speak is real.
Thing,
yeah.
You know, that I've gone through. So in my certification program, our teacher, Dr. Lipta, she said, 7s are like champagne. And she said, when it's too many bubbles, it's overflowing and you can't drink it. When it's too little bubbles, it's flat, you don't want it. But it just has to be just right, the right level. So the issue is that, so I came in bubbles overflowing the first day, right? I was late. I had my Enneagram shirt that I designed on. And so I walked in, styling and profiling. I came to my seat. People were laughing. And it's like, they said, what number are you? I said, what number do you think I am? And it was like 7. I was like, yeah, so we had a good time and fun and everything. But we got to the point, because it was so challenging, emotionally challenging and mentally draining, where we were getting coached and we were coaching. So it got to the point where it had really got to the real layers of who I am.
Yes.
And so I would go through one coaching session and I had different people in the room, not everybody, but they were like, we need you to get your bubbles back. And so what they thought is that when I'm overflowing, that's who I really was. Right. They didn't understand that wasn't my right level. Where I was when I was there was actually my right level. I felt full, which is one thing that 7s barely feel. We don't feel full, complete.
That's right.
We feel light. We don't feel grounded. And so
floating.
Right. So I felt grounded for like once in a long time. Kind of, like she had me in front, like it was weird. I was rocking like a baby. But anyway, it was kind of crazy, but it worked. So I felt really good. And like me being in that place, granted, I didn't necessarily have that much sleep, and maybe my face was saying something too, but a lot of them thought that like me overflowing with bubbles was like, that's who I naturally am. That's it. And I was like, no, that's not.
That's actually me shook up.
Right. I've been shook up and I'm doing too much right now. So I need to bring it down, So that was really helpful, because a lot of times for 7s, you can get stuck in feeling that entertainer role. Oh. And the issue is what you were saying, B.Chris, where we've done such a good job of convincing people that that's exactly who we are. Right. That when we actually have real issues and we're at moments where we can't put on that front, that's right. Now our friends and people are looking at us like, what's wrong with you? Right. Like, what do you want us to do? You're supposed to be this person. This is your job.
Who brought this foreign here?
Right.
Crying, sad, depressed, broke down.
Emotions.
Yeah. And I love 4s.
Oh my goodness. Now you're all strict and you're everything. Like, yeah. So it's like having people to see who 7s really are beyond the exterior of everything's okay. I rationalize everything to be happy. I am great. I am not avoiding pain right now.
Right.
So,
right.
So that is super something that we all have to definitely as 7s work on, is being grounded. All right. So one thing I would say, what's the best part about being a 7? What would you say the best part?
My relationships.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I love it. I tell my wife we be going places, bro, and I don't know. It's true that, and I had lost this whenever I had faced my darkness and whenever my darkness comes back. Right. But when I have it, it is this childlike, innocent enrapture. Like I'm just enraptured with the world and with these small things, full of gratitude. Yes. Like even right now, so you're doing this and like me knowing you as a freshman and us coming up together, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Like I'm seeing your thing and I'm so I'm so serious. Like, oh my gosh, I'm hype. Yeah. And I tell people from the pulpit, like, bro, I can feel this in my toes. I'm trying to explain to them how I feel, but that's for real. Right. Like I start feeling excitement in my body and I want to jump and dance and move and like for real. At a birthday party, I'm just loving this so much. I'm loving the fact that this friend of mine is turning 40. I'm loving the fact that he's with his wife again and it's awesome. I'm loving the fact that we're at this great restaurant. Loving the fact that the food is good. Loving the fact that our waitress is smiling. Loving the fact that I'm with my wife right now. Loving the fact. My wife, like I tell my wife and she says, she tells me, you're being brash nervy. She says, you're being brash nervy. I was once out at this restaurant with a whole group of friends and I was was like, I'm so excited. I'm like, oh my goodness, do you have a fork? Do you have a fork? Did I have a fork? I saw a fork here. Did she give me a fork? Ma'am, I'm like trying to flag down the waitress. Hey, can I have a fork? And my wife the whole time, I'm like, my wife, she slowly touches me and she's like, here's your fork. And she says, you're not excited, you're manic. She calls me, she's like, no, what you are is manic.
Next
like,
level.
bro, I'll be reading the Bible. I'll be looking at the goodness of the Lord. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can feel the Spirit in this place. And it's just like, 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. I just read some app or something, some daily devotional. And she's like, okay. She's talking to my daughter, my kids. Okay, we're going to let Daddy have that moment. He's manic in the spirit. We're going to let him have that moment. The best part of my life is my relationships, like seeing my wife be released from things and seeing her shine and then my children.
Right.
I one time went into this fit of excitement and just being proud, and just when I saw my daughter at school, she was walking into the school and she's in the first grade now. And I remember when I took her to kindergarten, she was always hesitant. You know, we don't know if she's a 6 or a 4. Which it's probably bad to type children.
It's
but
all good.
yeah, you know, it's like, we're not sure, but she's been hesitant. And so one day I caught her walking, but like proudly, just walking from the car into the school as if I'm not new anymore and I've got my feet under me and I feel good. Ooh, I can just, oh man, with my friendships, and then just seeing the gratitude and just being so thankful for life, just so thankful for people who love me. It's just so much. It fills me up. And sometimes it fills me up. I get dizzy from being filled. Right. Like, I have to really slow down because, you know, you just honored me and gave me so much. I have to grab something because I think I'll float away, or it's euphoric, hype, excitement. It's like the electricity is just up, voltage beyond. And that's the best thing. It's exciting. And people say, my life is exciting with you. And I'm like, my life is exciting with you. It's the excitement of life and not things that I have to go and get.
Right.
But I'm talking about excitement is here right now with 100 people. It's here right now with one person. It's here right now when I just got paid. It's here right now after Christmas and our kids done let us draw. And it's like, okay, y'all, we eating peanut butter and jelly for the next 2 months. The next time you see me, it's going to be March, homie. You know, all of that. That's the best part.
I think you hit on... Did you all hear the 7-ness in it? It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. But see, this is also a really good and high level of self-mastery when you talk about 7 being present to the things that's going on, the small things that are going on. Because the 7, when we have not self-mastered really well, or when we're unhealthy, we can look like constantly ideation and planning for the future, and we get stuck there instead of being present. Yeah. And so for you to be saying those things of like your relationships, those things, those small details and those beautiful things, being able to slow down to notice those is such a like wonderful place for a 7 to be. That's such a place where you've worked on self-mastery. You've done a lot of work. Oh, goodness. And so that's one of the beautiful places. So one of the things is I'm going to go through these array of questions.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay?
All right, so we're going to talk about the psychological defense and kind of the paradox a little bit of the Enneagram 7. So the psychological defense of the 7 is rationalization, which we have like a superpower to like frame things for good and for bad, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question. So how has rationalization helped you in life?
I mentioned earlier these traumatic experiences. That rationalization is the thing that kept me from being worse, from acting out, from being angry, from fighting all the time, from getting put out of school, even suicide.
Mm-hmm. How has rationalization hurt you?
It's prevented me from seeing real things, because the real version of me, even if flawed, in pain and struggling is always better than the best fantastical version, because the real version is actually here. The version of me or my life in the fantasy doesn't exist. So even a bad me in reality is worth more than a perfect me in fantasy, because one is actually here in the flesh and the other one is a figment of my own imagination. So I have let reality slip away from me by rationalizing. And rationalizing is a new school way of lying.
Ding, 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 ding.
Mm-hmm. That's what rationalization is.
And so I wanted the audience to see, like, especially with our psychological defense, because each type has it, that part of it, when we were younger, it's protected us. And even sometimes now it helps in different situations.
Yes.
But also at the same time, when it's out of control, how it hinders our lives. And for sevens, it allows us to live in this fantasy world.
Yes.
And for a while, me coming to the realization of like rationalization, I started to wonder what was true.
What's real at all? God dog it. That was a rough part of my darkness. That patch of growth. What is real? Who am I actually?
I don't know.
I think I'm still figuring that out.
Oh yeah, that's the
work.
Hopefully you have found some value in this podcast episode. You can help to keep this podcast going by supporting us on patreon.com. Patreon.com is a site where you can support content providers. Podcasts are free to listeners, but not free for creators. It actually costs money and definitely time to produce consistent and weekly podcasts. I podcast because I want to reach people and change our community through the Enneagram. If you want to help in that by supporting me, you can go to patreon.com/doitforthegram. That is patreon.com/doitforthegram.
So that's what I have for today, our episode with B.Chris Simpson. Thank you so much.
Man, bro. Love, bro.
So
love.
What's the church website?
HolmesRoadChurch.com. And we're actually creating a new website, but just Google Holmes Road Church of Christ in Memphis and you'll see a couple of websites there. Go to both of them. We would love to have you. We are a loving, kind church. I mean, multicultural, especially for this area. We've got black people. We've got white people. We got Democrats and Republicans. You know what I'm saying?
What?
We got conservative and progressive. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We have, like, theologically, it's just sort of like this melting pot of love. So please come see us. Look us up.
Yeah, and there's no place
like Holmes.
Exactly. So we definitely love for you to come visit and also check out the site. If you're just looking for a place that is really creating a community of love and like actually people really working on themselves to grow and know the Lord more, this is a place for you.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear some really touching, powerful, energetic, electric, loving, impactful, and funny sermons, you definitely need to check out B.Chris on Facebook Live or just come and take a visit because he definitely does that well. And so before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Hit subscribe button
Do it
so
now.
that you get all of the latest updates of what's going on in this episode with this podcast. And also don't forget to go to doitforthegrampodcast.com. There's a special Enneagram gift there if you become a subscriber to my internet website. And also, the last thing is when you're with your family, when you're with your friends and your coworkers and something pop off and you're upset and you're mad, remember, do it for the gram. Not Instagram, but the Enneagram. We'll see you soon next time.